When you start to create a game, one of the decisions you have to make is choosing a game engine. This can be overwhelming because there are a lot of game engines in the market, and sometimes it is very difficult to know the differences between them, or which one will be better for your game needs. Today, I'm going to break down which engine you should choose for your game. I will also discuss the pros and cons of each one, so you can get a better idea of what they are and what way you should go. I'm going to focus on the three most popular engines: Unity, Unreal, and Godot. I chose these three because they are the most popular in 2020 to develop games commercially. First, I'm going to start with Unreal because it is the oldest one and the most popular of the three. Unreal is developed by Epic Games, creators of games such as Fortnite and Gears of War. This engine is characterized by its graphical power. It is one of the most used engines in the AAA space. The reason for this is that it is a really powerful engine with lots of features that can get overwhelming if you're a beginner. Another barrier of entry is that it uses C++ as a coding language, which some people find to be harder to learn than others. However, it does include something called Blueprints. This is a visual scripting system that allows programmers and non-programmers alike to create content without knowing how to code. The issue is that these diagrams can get confusing over time and can transform into spaghetti really quickly. Again, this is super overwhelming if you're just starting out. Another great aspect of Unreal is their asset store. There, you can buy assets that people have already made and put them directly in your game without much work. This is a really great way of speeding up the game development process. Another thing to consider are royalties. Epic Games states that if your game surpasses $1 million in revenue, you have to give them 5% of that. This can quickly decrease the revenue or amount you earn as a developer. On the positive side, the engine is free to use for everyone. This is really good, especially if you're a student and want to learn how it works. Another positive thing is that their community is big, because it has been around for a long time. So if you ever need some help, there's probably someone who knows what you're trying to do and is willing to help. Another crazy thing about Unreal is the demos of new features. Recently, they showed a really impressive gameplay movie where they show that you can import models without worrying about poly count. You can also change lighting right away without baking, which is really impressive. If you're interested in creating amazing 3D worlds and environments, I will say go for Unreal over Unity or Godot. However, keep in mind that it might take you a little bit of time to get used to it and learn it. Next up, we have Unity. This engine isn't created by a particular game studio. It's created by Unity, but it is also a good choice, especially for beginners. Unity is the engine of choice for indie or small game developers. A few examples are Inside or Hollow Knight. It is a very versatile engine that anyone can pick up and create something really quickly with. Graphically, it has gotten better and better every year, yet it's still not up to par with Unreal. It also requires the developer to buy a pro license if you want to use the full capabilities. One good thing that Unity has is that it uses C# as a programming language. It is easier for a lot of people to learn it over C++, for example. If that is still not for you, it also has a visual scripting tool called Bolt, which, much like Unreal, it allows non-programmers to actually be able to create content for their games. Another great thing about Unity is that it supports a ton of platforms, including consoles like the PS4 and the Nintendo Switch. It is a great option if you want to release your game on multiple platforms. I also think that this is the engine to go with if you're developing for mobile. You won't need super crazy graphics for those devices, and they work really well with the engine. Unity has also a great asset store in which you can find assets made by other people that can help you in your games. Things like a first-person controller or even a simple tree model are easy to find and not too expensive. This can help you speed up the dev process and concentrate on your zone of genius. Last but not least is Godot. This is a really cool on-the-rise game engine since a few years ago. It has gained a lot of attention because it is open source, so you don't have to worry about revenue sharing or licenses, which is a big plus. It is also very beginner friendly and allows you to create simple things in easy and quick ways. The language that they use for coding is particular to the engine and is called GDScript. It is similar to Python, so it might be easier to create something on Godot using GDScript than to create something in Unreal or Unity using C# or C++. Another thing to consider is that Godot doesn't have the graphical power that Unreal or even Unity have. Although it has an asset store, it is very small in comparison to the other two engines. However, it is probably the best engine for beginners, given that the interface is very simple. It is also used for smaller games and by amateur game developers. If you are new to the game, this engine might be the best fit for you. In summary, here's a chart detailing pros and cons of each one and what I think of each category. First, what is best for? I think Unreal Engine is best for AAA games, while Unity and Godot are for smaller indie games. Which engine works best for 3D games? I think goes to Unreal. Which works for 2D games goes to Unity. Examples of games developed in Unreal are BioShock and Dishonored. Examples of games developed in Unity are Hollow Knight and Inside. Games on Godot are way smaller and more indie projects. The pricing is free for Unreal, free for Unity Personal, with a fee for the Pro version, and free and open source for Godot. All of them have asset stores, so the Unreal and Unity are bigger for now. And in terms of ease of use, I think Unreal is for advanced people or AAA studios, Unity is for indie developers, and Godot is for beginners or amateur developers. In the end, however, choosing a game engine is up to you, and what might be easier for you might be harder for someone else. So I will advise to try each of them without any expectations and see which one makes the most sense for you and for what you want to achieve with your specific game. I see a lot of people that obsess about what engine to pick and they lose time actually developing their game, which is the important part. I think that no matter what game engine you choose, if your game is good, you are going to be good. Just keep in mind the limitations and capabilities of each engine before you decide to put all the work in. And that's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. What engine do you prefer to use when you develop your games? Please let me know in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, please subscribe and share it with your friends. See you next time!